I'm HONTIVEROS. Welcome to your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. Presumptive President Bongbong Marcos already bearing two members of his cabinet. Presumptive Vice President Sara Duterte will become Education Secretary, while Marcos's campaign manager Benher Abalos will serve as Interior Secretary. Other names have been floated, but nothing is final without an official announcement. Bienvenido Laguesma was offered the DOLE, the Labor Department, and Toots Ople offered the Department of Migrant Workers or the DMW.
I think I am already authorized by to announce the first nominee that we will be giving to the Commission on Appointments when the time comes, should I be proclaimed. And that is that our incoming Vice President has agreed to take the brief of Department of Education. Nag-agree naman siya at palagay ko kasama na dyan dahil she is a mother and she wants to make sure that her children are well trained and well educated, and that's the best motivation that we can hope for.
I would also like to announce that Chairman Benher Abalos has been nominated to lead the Department of the Interior, and he has accepted the challenge.
Our guest tonight here in the studio, University of Asia and the Pacific professor and president of WR Numero Research, Robin Michael Garcia. Good evening, Robin. Thank you very much for being here. But before we talk about the appointments, let's talk about the elections that just happened. You wanted to talk about why BBM won and why Lenny lost.
I think it's a battle of narratives. The first reason why Vice President Lenny Robredo did not win, I think, is because of the weak articulation of the liberal or progressive narrative. I think the narrative of Bongbong Marcos is much more powerful in the sense that, of course, Marcos' salary is there, but the specific narrative is economic success during the administration of his father. I think that was quite a compelling narrative. And of course, the active effort towards making sure that the Marcos administration, is refurbished. The image is refurbished. I mean, among many reasons, you'd see that there's, of course, a landslide for presumptive President Bongbong Marcos.
Yeah. Weak articulation. Some the Lenny voters would vehemently disagree with you, and they'll say na, maganda yung messaging nila, gobyernong tapat, angat buhay lahat, kulay rosas ang bukas, liwanag sa dilim, etc. It goes on. They had great rallies, big rallies, but apparently that wasn't enough. 15M votes as against 30+ million for BBM.
We've seen in the research that this election is a continuity election. So a lot of people feel that they want to continue the administration of President Duterte. And I think that contributed to why the voters did not accept the liberal or more progressive narrative of Vice President Lenny Robredo. So the next step to figure out if it's a continuity election, more people want to continue President Duterte, is to convince the voters why we need to change status quo. And I feel that that's not enough coming from the presidential bid of Vice President Lenny Robredo, because majority of people obviously want to continue the administration of President Duterte. So therefore, the issue is not just about the image of Marcos, the Marcos family, it's also about the continued trust that a lot of people give to President Duterte. So I feel that the first step should have been, why do we need to change the current situation? And therefore why you would vote for Vice President Lenny Robredo.
Interesting that you use the word continuity, because when Vic Rodriguez was interviewed, he was asked about how BBM will continue the programs, for example, policies of PRRD of President Duterte. And he was saying in so many words, he's going to be his own man. At the same time, parang, okay, he's his father's son, pero he has other plans. He wants to do other things, etc.
Yeah, even if Bongbong Marcos did not get the outright endorsement of President Duterte, in fact, last year, President Duterte was implicitly saying that he doesn't support Bongbong Marcos.
Yeah.
I think that
A weak leader, sabi niya.
yeah, weak leader and other things. I think that they stuck to the message. They want to get the Duterte votes, which they did, because they know that a lot of the people really are going to vote on the good things that the president administration represents, and many things such as build, such as the drug war. I think based on our research, the drug war is supported, but Marcos was not very clear about how exactly does he want to solve the drug war, but he did say that he wants to support the drug war, among many other things.
We're already talking about moving forward, the future, but and very briefly, just like 30 seconds, talk about why there was that reaction from the Lenny voters, 15 million of them, saying in so many words that they didn't exactly trust the results of the elections, in spite of the fact that it is an automated election system.
Well, of course, there's a cognitive dissonance there. We've consistently seen the massive rallies for Vice President Lenny Robredo, but at the same time, they don't see it reflecting in the pre-election polls, which was actually very consistent among all the survey firms, whether they be privately commissioned or publicly released. The results are the same, and so it was difficult actually to figure out, to try to make sense of those results that are quite different on the ground and results that you can see in the numbers. But in the end, the surveys prevailed. Of course, there's a question of whether big data analytics, specifically from Google Trends, is really a reliable measure or predictor of elections.
Well, it's not, right? Not in
well,
this country, because look what happened.
Well, probably not yet. I think there are methodological issues that can be improved, but it is used in advanced democracy, so I think maybe Filipino scholars and firms might be able to benefit from studying more about how exactly we could use that data to predict election outcomes.
All right, moving forward, so we have those appointments by BBM, Ben-Hur Abalos for DILG and Sara Duterte herself for DepEd. What do you think of that? At the same time, what do you want to see in the cabinet? For example, DFA, DOF, very important, finance, DTI, trade, DND, defense, DNR, DOTR, health, DOH.
So far, what we've seen are appointments that are given to close allies and coalition members who campaigned for them over the last few months. But what I hope is to get the best and the brightest, meaning we're looking at experts and industry experts, scholars who study and have experience, in the industry that they're supposed to be appointed for. So, for example, if someone should be appointed for the Department of Energy, that person should at least have some experience in the energy department. But of course, professional experience and academic qualifications is just one thing. The other thing that we have to think, the other criteria that we have to think about, of course, is more on the moral side, of course, integrity and all of those things. But I think, we're dealing with a pandemic. We really hope that we assemble a cabinet that can effectively deal with post-pandemic response, because that's the economic and material context that presumptive President Bongbong Marcos is dealing with the next few months.
All right, we'll be back after a quick break. Robin's still going to be here with us. This is Politics as Usual. Be right back.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, Ato ni Bay.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
Welcome back. This is Politics as Usual. Presumptive President Bongbong Marcos' first cousin, expected to become the House Speaker of the 19th Congress. Martin Romualdez, 1st District of Leyte Representative, has earned the support of major political parties, including the National Unity Party, PDP Laban, and the Nationalista Party. Incumbent House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, who we thought would want to stay, had the support of Sara Duterte. But today, Velasco himself endorsed Romualdez as the next speaker, saying the former will, quote, ensure that the legislative agenda of the incoming administration will be pursued and completed.
We are actually going to continue with all of the amelioration programs that have been started in aid of the pandemic response. We will continue with all the economic measures to help reinvigorate our economy.
All right, Robin Garcia is still here with us. Robin, tell us what you think of a Martin Romualdez as Speaker of the House, and how it will work in the BBM administration. Everybody always says that the legislative is or supposed to be independent of the administration, but of course that's not exactly the case.
Yeah. Majority Floor Leader Martin Romualdez, I think, is a good choice. He enjoys the respect of the majority of the members of the House of Representatives. If there's any indication of that, you see the support that he's getting over the last few days.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, of course, we know that he was running for the Speaker a couple of months ago. And I think that's worked for him. He has built a coalition. And, if he's going to be instrumental in supporting the policy and legislative priorities of the next administration. Of course, if there are policies that would be good for the economy, then it's important that Congress will be aligned with the priorities, with the good priorities of the next administration.
Mm-hmm. And of course, for the minority leader, yung magiging minority leader kasi kailangan tumakbo din as speaker para maging minority leader. And it looks like from the rough numbers that we've seen, well, like they call it the supermajority that's supporting Romualdez. What will this mean for the country? I mean, yes, it will help, for example, economic policy that the BBM administration must pursue. There's that support for that, no? But with a weak opposition or a very minority in the House of Representatives, ano ibig sabihin nun?
We're a democracy, and the reason why there are people who may not exactly support the policies is because we need to balance the what might be deemed as negative for society, and of course negative non-support may not exactly be negative. It could be good, in fact, to have great discussions, good debates, and that's what we need. But with an imminent supermajority, I feel that the opposition has to be able to figure out how they will lead the lower house moving forward. Of course, it's a different story in the Senate. There are people in the Senate who are not exactly aligned with Bongbong Marcos,
Yeah.
and I think that's hopeful for the opposition.
Yeah, buti na lang nabanggit mo na yung Senate because we're going to go over here to our screen. We're going to show the what the Senate is going to look like. And Robin, I want you to help me do this. So just explain first to the viewers what we have here. On the first row are the 12 incumbents whose terms end on June 30, 2025. And then the lower 12 are the incoming, yung mga or returning senators whose terms will end on June 30, 2028. Itong 12 nasa baba ay yung mga nanalo at ipoproklama bukas ng Commission on Elections. So we're going to start, Robin, with yung mga incumbent, and what we'll do is we're going to put them in the proper column.
Right.
So it's either their administration or opposition, or if they're not yet decided or malabo pa, we'll put them here in the middle. So you just tell me where. No? So let's begin with Senator Sani Angara.
I think he's in the running to be speaker,
Speaker.
rather to be Senate President. So
Talaga?
while he wasn't so vocal supporting Bongbong Marcos, I think he's aligned with the administration. Yes.
Yeah. Nancy
We're not sure.
Binay.
I'm not sure about Nancy Binay.
Yeah.
She could be part of the opposition, although there's no big pronouncement from her
Yeah.
yet.
So maybe like opposition or independent, but let's put her here in the middle,
Correct.
right?
Maybe you could also put Senator Pia Hontiveros.
You mean Pia Cayetano?
Sorry. Pia,
Yeah.
Pia
Cayetano.
Cayetano. Pia
Oh,
Cayetano.
yeah.
Rather.
Here. We'll put her here in the middle muna.
Sure.
Oo.
And then Senator Grace po as well.
Yeah. Wait a minute, si Pia Cayetano, syempre, kapatid ni Alan. And although they were allied with Duterte.
They were out with
President,
Duterte, but they
but-
don't necessarily support Bongbong Marcos, I think.
That's a nice way of saying that Alan, went after BBM in 2016. Bato de la Rosa, syempre.
Siyempre.
Okay, dito tayo sa administration. Bato de la Rosa, Bongo,
Yes, of course.
administration.
Bongbong's administration.
All right. Dito Lapid,
I
administration.
think administration.
Okay. Amy Marcos, may tanong pa ba? Administration. O, ito
Uh,
na. Coco Pimentel.
Coco Pimentel, we're not sure. There
Yes.
are talks that he'll be part of the minority, but he's still about to decide. So,
Okay. Siya ba yung, hindi, si Joel pala yun. But anyway, okay. So let's put him here first, in the middle.
okay, sure.
Yeah? Okay. Grace Poe,
In the middle.
in the middle also.
There's still a lot of people in the middle. I
Yeah?
think,
Yeah. Bong Revilla,
administration.
here, administration. Very clearly, no? Lakas.
The gentleman from Cavite, that's
Yeah. Francis
administration.
Tolentino, administration.
Of course,
Okay. Cynthia Villar, administration.
administration.
Oh, interesado daw maging Senate
Senate
President.
President,
Right.
right.
Okay, so we're putting her here. Now, let's go to the lower column. So, ito na yung 12 incoming and or returning, in other yung mga panalo nitong May 2022. So, Robin Padilla, of course,
Administration.
Lauren Lagarda, administration.
Administration.
Rafi Tulfo.
We're not sure about Rafi Tulfo. He's probably one of the most interesting cases. He's got a lot of support,
Okay, so,
and a lot of people are looking at what he's going to do
so we'll put him first here in the middle.
in the middle.
All right, okay. Sherwin Gatchalian, also interested in the Senate presidency.
Also interested in Senate President, so probably administration.
Administration. Cheese Escudero, who said on election night,
He supports
said he ran for
Lenny
Lenny, but
Yeah,
he's gonna.
I think he could
support-
be in the middle.
Middle
in
muna
the
tayo. Okay, let's put him here in the middle. I wonder how they'll be reacting. Mark Villar, by the way, marami tayong nakikitang magkapatid or
Yes,
ama,
yes.
mag-ina, sorry. So Mark Villar, of course, administration.
Administration.
There he is, right?
Alan
Beside his
Peter.
mother, Alan Peter Cayetano, kapatid
He's
ni
still in the
Pia.
middle, I think.
Lagay na muna natin sa gitna. Okay, pero suportado si... Teka, dito natin ilagay. Alright. Mig Zubiri.
Also
isa pang-
interested in the Senate presidency,
and
so he's
administration. He was with the BBM Senate slate. Joel Villanueva, he said open studying consulting.
he's
So,
still in the middle.
okay, gitna muna siya natin siya. JV Ejercito.
JV, I think, is in the middle.
Talaga? JV? Gitna. I wonder if they're watching and then they're saying, teka, hindi ako dyan. Risa Ontiveros, lone opposition.
And the opposition
Very
for now.
clearly. Nako,
And
all by myself. And then Jinggoy
Jinggoy
Estrada,
is administration.
administration. So we have here, we'll count lang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Clearly administration. And then, yung mga nilagay mo sa gitna, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
9. But do you think they'll eventually just move over here to the administration?
I think they'll be choosing, where to go. It depends on what policies they're gonna support and what policies they're not going to support. I think they won't be outrightly hostile against the next administration. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a waiting game.
Yeah, not
And-
outrightly hostile, but you have, like, for example, Alan Cayetano. In the 2016 elections, he ran as VP running mate of PRRD. And Coco Pimentel, for example, nung pinag-uusapan yung PDP laban and endorsement of BBM, he was saying, how can you do that? My father's going to turn his grave. The party that rallied and protested against the first Marcos administration, di ba?
Right. I think Alan Peter Cayetano will be an interesting person to look at. He's been very vocal about the corruption issues that surround the Marcos family. So we'll see if he's going to use his position to be vocal again. But right now, I think he's also a little bit reasonable. He can support some policies which he might think, might think is good for post-pandemic response.
Yeah, very quickly, Robin, if we were to, so they're here in the middle, but if we were to decide, where they would most likely lean toward, whether administration or opposition, lahat ito ba would lean toward the administration?
Not
Then,
necessarily.
no.
Some of them can be opposition, can evolve into
Yeah.
an opposition. So, it really remains to be seen
Yeah.
the level of satisfaction and trust of presumptive President Bongbong Marcos in the next few years.
Yeah.
So maybe in the midterm elections, things might change.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we need to look out for, the alignments that might happen coming from this set
Yeah,
of
okay. So
candidates.
can we put them on this side if they're going to lean more towards the opposition?
Okay, sure, sure. Maybe Alan Peter was
Alan.
just
Okay.
because he was vocal against Bongbong Marcos 2016. I'm not so sure about Coco. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, of course, in a way, siguro they'll also be careful because you have a
They'll be very
president who has 31 million
Enjoyed,
votes.
yes,
no?
of course.
Okay, and like we said, of course, nag-isang opposition. All right, so don't go anywhere. Politics as usual, be right back. Stay with us.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
We're on our final stretch. San Pedro, Laguna will be under new leadership following the defeat of Aaron Katakis, the son of the city's incumbent mayor, Lourdes Katakis. Joining us via Zoom is San Pedro Laguna's incumbent vice mayor and now mayor-elect Art Joseph Francis Mercado. Art, hi. Thank you very much. Okay, so what happened in San Pedro, Laguna? How did you beat the Katakis political family?
Through hard work, Ma'am Pia, we were able to get our platform across the different sectors, different communities of our city. We were able to tell them our plans and what we're willing to do to bring change to our city.
Mhm. You're not a first timer in politics. Like we said, you are incumbent vice mayor. Before this, the previous term, you were a councilor also, right?
Yes, actually 2016 I was a city councilor, and then 2019 I became vice mayor, and then 2022 I ran for mayor, and thank God that I won.
Okay. The national elections, of course, were very, everybody was focused on it. Ang tinitingnan talaga ng tao is this fight between BBM and Lenny. How did BBM do there in Laguna again, and how did that factor? Oh, your daughter, is that your daughter behind you?
My daughters. The Unity team won actually in San Pedro by a huge number of votes. They won by a landslide also. So very, very thankful also to Vice President-elect Mayor Inday Sara Duterte for helping my campaign. She actually went to to our city. She went house to house with our group. So we're very, very thankful for her support. And actually, I'm in Davao right now because I
Oh,
took
okay.
my oath before her this morning. So thank you, Mayor, Vice President Inday.
Okay. Oh, you're very close pala kay Inday. Sarah, ha? Okay. Sige, we won't keep you very long and we don't have much time either, but we hope to have you on the show in the future and yung mas mahabang oras. Maraming salamat sa iyo, Mayor-elect Art Mercado of San Pedro, Laguna. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me, Ma'am Pia. Salamat po.
All right. And of course, just the last 2 minutes before we end the show, Robin Garcia is still here with us. I want to talk very briefly about this petition that was filed at the Supreme Court. No? So they want to cancel the candidacy of BBM, and the petitioners have asked the High Tribunal to TRO the canvassing of the votes in Congress for President and VP. Is this going to get anywhere, or have people already accepted the results?
So obviously the Comelec and Bank, did not approve. I mean, it struck down this whole case. So the recourse is to go to the Supreme Court. We're not sure whether or not the Supreme Court can really, be the deciding factor here. But, it really depends as well on political forces that might be, involved in this whole case. But if there's any indication, I think if President Duterte and the coalition of President Duterte wanted to disqualify Bongbong Marcos, and it should have already happened at the Comelec level.
Okay. And might it be a little bit difficult to do that now at the Supreme Court level, given that, the guy has 30 plus million votes. But, I mean, it's like invalidating all those votes, telling those who voted for him na walang kwenta yung boto nyo.
It's still possible, but of course it's going to be a PR issue for the Supreme Court. I think the satisfaction and trust rating of the Supreme Court might go down after that. But I think if the Supreme Court believes that the decision to disqualify is the right decision, then it should follow what it thinks is right. In the end, the Court of Public Opinion is different from the Supreme Court. It's supposed to decide independently and objectively about the case.
All right. Final words, Robin Garcia.
Well, we hope presumptive President Bongbong Marcos will be able to come up with a powerful cabinet, because we're dealing with a lot of problems that affect lives of millions of people who supported him, and people who did support him as well.
Thank you so much, Robin Garcia, UANP professor and president of WR Numero Research. Salamat, Robin.
Thank you very much.
Hope to see you again here at the show. We've been told before, don't talk politics at the dinner table or at a family reunion or in Viber groups and risk digital warfare. But we can talk about it here at this table on this show, your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. I'm Pia Hontiveros. See you back here next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m.